Okay, everybody. It's been a few days. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been working on these videos. Um, as far as making the actual videos, I've been editing them pretty much as they came out over the last week. My plan is I'll have a weekly show, Monday through Friday, and then weekends, no videos. That'll be the plan. Um, Still trying to get the sound to be good, but I think I'm running up against the limitations of my microphone in the way that it actually absorbs my voice because I have been spending hours and hours trying to move the various sliders and alter the various decibels to try to get it more true to vocal. But I think I'm just wasting my time trying to do all this nonsense. So here we are, episode 3. Um, this is about, this should be pretty much the end of this video will catch up to what I have made thus far. So this first part, I did not have a voice recording for it. I was like, I'll do a voiceover because that'll be so cool. And then trying to actually make it work has been a pain and a half. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm basically recording on OBS because for whatever reason, Filmora's noise suppression stopped working. So when I tried to do a voiceover, it just picked up the air conditioning unit humming. Weird. Um, so now I'm just going to do it in OBS while kind of watching the video and talking about what my thoughts were at the time. My old thoughts. I had to talk about like me from several weeks ago. Uh, he was just as silly and goofy as the me that is here today. I know that part, so that should be pretty easy. So, first things first, I'm still on this hill next to this boulder, charging up my little vehicle pod, but I got kind of bored just sort of waiting for it to charge. So, I went ahead, I dug out some more stone, and I expanded it to have all of these charging windmills. Wind turbine, sorry, that's the correct word. Turbine. All right, now I'm going to break them all down, pack them inside the pod, finish the pod's upgrades, and we're going to get the heck out of Dodge, man. Forget this. I am so tired of this area, mostly because it's on a hill. It's just a little uninteresting. So the plan is, because that cargo pod is where a lot of my mass is to put the thrusters rear of the mass so that I can get a better lift. Because it's like a lever, you know. You have the fulcrum in the middle. You have the weights on either side, and if I put the thrust closer to the fulcrum, when I try to lift the whole thing, it's going to be stable. Rather than if I try to lift from the edge of the lever, the edge of just one lever, it's not going to work as well. Oh, here's the fun part where I forgot that I had my battery in recharge mode. So when I disconnected everything, the whole pod shut down. I was a little worried there for a second. All right, I'm probably going to cut all this part out where I'm like putzing. Okay, this should be the back. We have liftoff. So I have 4 lifting pods, 4 lifting thrusters, and I have forward thruster, reverse thruster. I didn't make any side thrusters. I didn't want to deal with the extra weight, and I might have been able to afford it. No, that's right. I didn't have enough large steel tubes to do it, so I couldn't have done it at this point. Okay. This is sort of a starting flight test to see how smooth the trip is. but I'm not trying to go too fast or too high before I really let her rip. But so far, it feels very stable, very controllable. This is this is kind of what I was hoping for from the very beginning. We start getting a little bit of drift whenever I take my finger off the accelerator, because that reverse thruster is connected to the dampeners. So every time I let off on the accelerator, my reverse thruster triggers and it starts to shift my pod in the wrong direction. So I'm like, no, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward. And so I'm fighting it. And as you can see at the bottom, the wind is getting higher. And eventually I just have to just have to be like, all right, this is not working. You know, I'm gonna sit down here in a minute. I'm gonna keep on trying for a little while longer because I think maybe I can do it. But I have to go over these mountains, and if I lose control, I'm just gonna smash into the rocks and destroy everything. So then I try something with like turning off the dampening thrusters to see what happens. And that wind is actually pretty strong. It really pushes me around. So I finally just like, all right, gonna take it nice and slow and land her down. And as I'm landing, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna fix this problem? I think I'm like 99% sure it's that reverse thruster, which means my only option is to turn it into a forward thruster. So that way I have something kind of like a powered glider. Although, as you can tell from this vehicle, it's more like a powered rock. Yeah, I like that. The powered rock pod. Oh, that kind of works. Pod, powered rock. It sounds pretty good. I go ahead. I uh, I get it all sort of synced up with all the other engines, and I'm like, okay. I also want more control because I'm hoping that maybe more gyroscopes will allow me better control in the wind as well. Again, I've used the aerodynamics physics. I used it once while playing Ares at War because I was thinking about doing a series with that, but that was like a year ago, and I got cold feet, and but I still have a dream of doing that because I think that would be a lot of fun because it has the industrial overhaul mod. Ooh, that mod can be a lot of fun. A lot of interesting things you can do. And now that I've got a good sort of item management, inventory management mod, I forget which one allows me to set like outputs and inputs. If I can get that working, should be pretty good. All right, now that I have the dual forward thrust, I have a lot more control and I have a lot more momentum when I'm going in a direction. Well, no, that wouldn't work because I haven't changed my mass. It feels like I have more control moving in a direction. Momentum is related to mass, so even if I increased my thrust, that shouldn't increase my momentum. If I remember correctly. Newtonian physics was my best, and it was still my worst class back at college. My best of the physics. Yeah, see that was a really bad attempt at a bank because I don't know how to actually fly in in wind over a mountain. I'm used to kind of brute forcing it with just stack on the engines, stack on, oh, you can't lift, more engines. Oh, you can't fly forward, more engines. It's kind of my noob mentality. But I want to get a little bit better at actually building things that are going to be viable over the long term. All right. This is. Oh man, I don't want to crash into this mountain. I'm doing pretty good. I got pretty good height, especially with the 4 lifting thrusters keeping me from smashing into the ground. Okay, we're coming over the ridge. All right. Ooh, that's about what, 20, 30 meters? Okay. Coming up over. We're still, I believe our mark is there about 50 kilometers away. So we still got a ways to go. Yeah, because that lake down there is not our final destination. But we're over the first mountain. Okay. Looks like we're coming up on sort of another mesa. That's what every time I see that sort of coloration, it reminds me of those. I don't know, I don't remember what the series was, but I always thought of them as like the Navajo detective stories. And they were just it was about a reservation, I think in Arizona, maybe it was New Mexico, and it had like an FBI guy who was a Navajo, and then it had an actual cop from the reservation as well, and they would work together. They were both Navajo, and they would work together and they would solve crimes. I really liked. They turned the books into like 1 or 2 movies. They were pretty good. 27 kilometers. Okay, right. So I'm gonna sort of wheedle my way through these 2 mountain ranges, 2 mountains basically, and then on the other side we should come to our destination. Uh, Okay. Yeah. Yep. 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 This should all be pretty easy flying. I should probably put this to music since that's kind of my shtick is gonna put the easy flying to music. I hope you guys like the AI music. I don't even know what to call this. This isn't really a valley. We're going to be right at the base of this mountain range, but we're kind of in this really sort of nasty, hilly area, which will be good because this will be good because of what I'm planning to do. I'm I don't want to give away what's going to happen in the next section because that actually has voice from when I originally record this. So I'll let past me describe what the plan is. And me, I'm still working on what's going to be for episode 4. I had this idea of like doing half the video as like a drafting with like Microsoft Paint, where I just kind of like draw out the various things. But I think it's going to be more useful to do it more useful, and I have all of the highlight mods so that I can actually look at individual grids and see how they interact and how their power works, and I think that'll be more useful. Okay, we're coming in for a landing. Now remember, I don't have any reverse thrust. So all of my reverse thrust is either got to come from my rear engine, my forward facing engines. So I have to turn around like I did here. Or I have to lift up the face, because it's not a nose cone, it's the face of this pod, and allow both the I think it would be air resistance in this case, the wind, and my lifting engines to kind of angle and put that lifting force into a braking force. Um, the first time I ever saw that was in a really silly movie. It was a Space Cowboys, with I believe it was Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones, and there was a whole bunch of like really famous guys out of like the 70s and 80s, and so that was really good. They had they were trying to get back to a Russian satellite because it was falling out of orbit. And when they get there, they find out, oh my god, they've got nukes on it. They've had this satellite hovering over the United States for multiple decades, not decades. What is a decade? Decades. And if they're not careful, the nukes will go off. But that was a real fun ride. Let's go ahead and put the nose down. Which is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to gently land this sucker, but of course I'm going too fast. You can see I'm going above 5 meters per second. Look at that! I totally messed it up. Oh man, that's great. That's great. But hey, any landing you can walk away from is a great landing. All right. All right. I don't want to hear it. This is a great landing. Grade A landing. Oh, but here's my favorite part of this. Oh, hey, cool. I found a station. Go through. All right. What kind of station we got? Oh, look at it. Look at it. Yeah, boy. But this symbol, I'm relatively sure, means that this is an ore base. So if I do my store, I can buy iron ore. It's real cheap. I can even buy platinum ore and uranium ingots. So cash is going to be good. They'll buy cobalt and silver, and they'll buy a lot of other stuff. This is great. Okay. So this is definitely where I want to start setting up my shop. I had some time to think about this. So what I'm gonna do is kind of make a small block base. I know that sounds very odd. Sounds odd to say it. But my plan here is to oh yeah, broke off. Kind of broke the landing gear. But what I'm gonna do is just go ahead. I wanna get this a little closer. Sorry, I'm focused because this is actually really hard to fly. And what I don't want to do is end up inside the safe zone. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing I got to do is I'm going to make this into a sort of a small block base, because I do have the ability, go to Control 4, to put on a basic assembler and a basic refinery. which means I can get up to cobalt refined and manufacture up to the metal grids. I can't do gold coil, so I'll need a large assembler or heading towards like fusion stuff. But until then, I should be able to use this. I can make fuel cells. Now, why am I making a small block base type thing? Because nobody ever does it, you know? At least as far as I've seen. Most people just go straight in, they find a nice place, they build a large block base, and then they build a frigate, and they fly off. And I'm like, I wonder what it would be like to have a small block base. And I have enough PCUs, so it should be pretty easy. But I'm going to go ahead and go silent for this next bit because all it is me flying around and searching for ores. Hopefully, there's at least 2 silver boulders relatively close so I can get enough cash to start buying iron ore and get this baby going. I am going to build the charging station, so kind of laugh at me for building a large block base, but it's just going to be, it's basically there just to charge this thing because the large blocks get better power efficiency. And if I can get the fuel cells up and running, I might just take down the charging station and just keep it small block. One thing I'm thinking about is maybe getting a truck and a mining cart or mining machine, and so I'll just truck kind of this mobile mining machine around. That's an idea I have, but we'll see where we are. First things first, I gotta go look for stuff, so I'm gonna be quiet while that happens. That is the second time I have stopped a recording for half a second and been attacked by one of these damn wolves. Where'd you go, Fido? Come on. Come on, you evil little thing. Where'd you go? I'm right here. Ooh, we got two. Come on. Come to Papa. Are they running? No, 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 no. Sorry, Fido. You don't get to run. You don't get to run, Fido. Gotcha. 5 displays? 5 displays, Fido. Alright. These wolves. They're evil hunters. They'll get you if you're not careful. I meant to just turn on the mic, but instead I ended the recording, and then wham! 2 wolves in the back. They're good. Those hunters are good. They're gonna get me. I'm gonna not be ready, and they're gonna get me. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this episode. Thank you for sticking along. It was a very strange episode. It was stranger to edit than it was to even just make it in the first place. So, yeah, let's call this one experimental and try never to do it again. Alright then. I will catch you all in episode 4, which should hopefully be on time tomorrow, noon Central. That's Central for America. I don't know if any of the audience is outside of the US. I highly doubt it, but maybe one day. So until then, I will catch you all later. Cheers.